Today we're going to look at Magic the Gathering cards we played wrong at a rules perspective. Now, of course, we got to start off with one of my own stories. Kira Great Glass Spinner. Blue, 1 generic, 2/2 spirit. It's got this really weird ability. Creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. Oh god, it feels good to counter those spells and abilities. But here's the deal. Kira needs to be on the battlefield already. You cannot do it in response to a removal spell. A question a lot of people have. But in my second tournament with this card, someone targeted a creature with Lightning Bolt and I Ether Vialed in my Kira Great Glass Spinner. Opponent was like, yeah, and then scooped. And later on in that tournament, I was like, I don't think this is exactly how this card works. And then after conferring with a friend, yeah, I played this card wrong. This is not how it's supposed to be. The Kira Great Glass Spinner has got to be in play already to give the creatures the shield. If somebody targets a creature first, and then I flash in the Kira with Ether Vial, it doesn't give protection because the spell is already on the stack. So what other cards did you guys play wrong in your casual games or tournament games? Cast a spell, then someone Orim's chant you or Abiance? What is this? Orim's chant. Oh, you're trying to play this in response? It's like, target player can't play spells this turn. If you paid the kicker cost, creatures can't attack this turn. I could totally see people playing this like a counter spell. You play a spell, well, in response, Orim's chant. Spell doesn't work anymore. Goes directly into the garbage. It looks like it's a counter spell. Like on the stack, you can't play spells. When in fact, you have to get this in play before your opponent plays anything. It's a very similar situation as like the Kira Great Glass Spinner. Who was using Orim's Chant as a counter spell when you first started playing? I'm not certain, but I think I played it like this a long time ago. Otherwise, I was like, well, what's the point of this card? What's the point of this card if I can't make you play the card that you already played? Looks like ramen and MTG to me. What is this, does anyone binge on ramen during the, what's it called, during lunchtime? Magus of the Bargain. I was playing in a tournament in Beijing, and my opponent attacked me with a Mishra's Factory the turn it hit the battlefield. There wasn't a judge nearby to stop him, so he won that game. Just let that creature... So, you know what? I understand. Mishra's Factory. Can we get the OG Mishra's Factory? I like the OG. What's your favorite Mishra's Factory? Summer? Winter? Spring? I think my favorite... I should get one that doesn't look hideous in Oracle text. There we go. Old picture, but new Oracle text. So you can turn it into a 2/2 assembly worker. It turned into a 2/2 creature until end of turn. But it's not intuitive that lands get summoning sickness. We all know that creatures that enter the battlefield that turn, they get summoning sickness, but the lands, I mean lands, you get to tap with, you can tap them the turn they enter the battlefield, right? It's not like the lands have summoning sickness. So I've totally learned this lesson myself when I was a kid. Because if you put a Llanowar Elf, okay, Llanowar Elf, for example, Llanowar Elf. Let's just try to use some logic here. They teach us that the land... What, did I not spell Llanowar Elf correctly? They teach us that when the creature enters the battlefield, even if it adds mana, it has summoning sickness. You can't tap that thing for mana. But the Mishra's Factory, it can be tapped for mana immediately. So why can't you attack with it immediately? But it just so happens that the rules say that once it becomes a creature, it may not attack anymore. Wonder, did anyone just learn that rule right now? I imagine there's some people watching this show that just learned that. Your creature lands do not have haste. They don't have haste. Okay, King Ginger said, I thought excess damage automatically applied with double strike, but you need trample to actually hit the creature and the opponent. Do you know what? I thought the same thing too. So what's a great double strike creature? Gonna consult Google here. Double strike creatures MTG. What's a... I don't know. I don't play with many double strike creatures, people. I don't play with many double strike creatures. Only first strike. Where's the double striker? Two-headed guy. Alright, two-headed. The Cerebus. There we go. We got the two-headed Cerebus. I totally thought that this is how this worked. You attack, they block, the thing dies, and then you deal damage again during... Like, I'm pretty sure I tried to do this at a pre-release the very first time I played with Double Strike. After all, there's nothing there to take your damage. Like, let's say we're swinging at something. I use my sword to attack, and you block with your head. Okay, that's fine. You dead now. Now what's stopping the second swing? What, your chopped off decapitated body? Makes no sense. But it just so happens this is one of those things that intuitively it should work the way we think it works, but based on the rules just arbitrarily say if it got blocked, it's blocked. And that's that. Baron with the huge super chat. Every card with Indestructible. We just assumed it was immune to like everything and kept changing how to kill them. Ah, yeah, so what's a good Indestructible creature? Infinite Gyre. Maybe this is not a great example. It's a big butt on this guy. Ulamog have big butt. But Indestructible, so that means it won't get destroyed by Wrath of God or Supreme Verdict. Damage will not destroy it. But it doesn't mean that it can't be exiled. It doesn't mean you can't use like give it -10/-10 until end of turn. Although when we first get into the game, when we think Indestructible, like nothing can deal with this. Nothing. You can't exile. You can't give it -20/-20. It's gonna sit there. It's gonna sit there till the cows come home. No, Indestructible isn't actually quite indestructible like we thought. It can be bounced, exiled. There are ways. Oh, what else do we have here? Barracat. Any spell that is not a May ability, like Tattoo to Draw Trigger, I've seen people force others in their non-May ability, and it backfires. Tatyova. I'm assuming the Benthic one? Okay. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and draw a card. So I've seen people force others into their non-May ability, and it backfires. What is backfiring here? I don't understand, actually. So, I mean, if it doesn't say May, you do have to draw the card. Like, you have to draw the card. You have to gain the life if a player notices the ability. You're not allowed to intentionally ignore it. They mill themselves? Whenever a land enters a battlefield under your control, you may gain 1 life and draw a card. Okay, you draw your whole deck. Oh, I see, okay. So some people will force people to draw their deck. And so I'm guessing what you're saying is some people think, oh, they can choose to put this ability on the stack or not. No, you do have to technically always have... If you remember, you have to put the ability on the stack. Although at a tournament level, if you accidentally forget, then it'll be up to your opponent whether they put that ability on the stack or not. Yeah, I've seen people force others into overdrawing. Yeah. Be careful with your draws, people. Be careful with your lands. Those abilities do go on the stack. We've got Gayer. Welcome. Mana Flare and Crystal Query thought it gave me 2x Wooburg. Mana Flare. Crystal Query. I don't know what either of these cards do. Okay, we got the Mana Flare here. Red 2 generic. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 mana of that type to his or her mana pool. So whenever the player taps land for mana... Oh, you wanted to add, what, 5? So... Oh my goodness! So whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 mana of that type to his or her mana pool. Oh, I see. So you went for the 5 tap, go for the Wooburg, and you thought you got a double Wooburg? That's a nice try. That's a nice try over there. No, you just get... I mean, it specifically says add 1 mana, unless I guess you add 1 ability. No, it's not 1 ability, it's just 1 mana. It's quite hilarious. Daniel with the super chat. Coat of Arms, people can't count. Coat of Arms. Wait, the Lord card? The Lord artifact? Each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least 1 creature type with it. Oh, you're saying people just can't count this thing correctly. How large are your creatures? Well, let's count all the creatures on the battlefield and then add them all up, and then people are like, no, that's not it. You got 6 creatures out. So, and remember, it's all other creatures. You can't add all of them up, and then you add them up like this. It's just like that with any other lord, frankly. Okay, what else do we got here? We got Hinope. Maybe not played wrong, but the interaction between Trample and deathtouch was not... Oh, it's not intuitive to anyone. Top 10 interactions people get wrong. Trample and deathtouch. I don't know what's a... There's like very few creatures that have Trample. What's a deathtoucher? Scorpion. Every scorpion has deathtouch. There we go. There it is. It's the Sedge Scorpion. More flavor text than actual abilities on it. So yeah, if you give Trample to the Sedge Scorpion, and also you have to give like a bunch of buffing abilities to the Sedge Scorpion, then all of a sudden, yeah, you can annihilate a bunch of blockers. You know how I learned about this interaction properly? Because I gang blocked a stupid death-touching, trampling creature. And then I lost like 6 creatures, and I didn't even do anything to the blocking creature at all. I was like, okay, I'm willing to trade this in giant army for this stupid Sedge Scorpion. And I lost it all. I bet it all on black, and I lost everything. Tetra. Shining Shoal, misread and thought redirect the next X total damage. 2x Shining Shoal for 10 each, and said I redirect the next 20 combat damage from several creatures. What the hell? Shining Shoal, very interesting card. White, X. You may remove a white card with convert mana cost X in your hand from the game rather than pay Shining Shoal's mana cost. The next X damage that a source of your choice would deal to you or a creature you control this turn is dealt to target creature or player instead. So... you had 2x Shining Shoals for 10 each, and I said I redirect next 20 combat damage from several creatures. Thought redirect the next X total damage. Yeah! Convert mana cost X in your hand from the game rather than pay Shining Shoal's mana cost. The next X damage that a source of your choice would deal this turn. Oh, you mean you did several creatures. Oh, I see. You tried to divide it out from a lot of things. You thought that X was for the number of creatures. No, it's also it's just for the amount of damage that you're going to deal from a single source. From a single source. Gotcha. This is a confusing card, and it's a massive blowout if you've never played against it. All of a sudden you attack, your opponent says, no, not only am I not taking any damage from your creature, I'm gonna have your creature like kill off your creatures. Just nuts. Pedro has a suggestion for a video. How about clunkiest cards to play on paper? I'd say Cathar's Crusade. Can't relate. Okay, but with that could be a video idea. Clunky cards. Christian says, Trample and people saying Pro Color or Indestructible prevents all the Trample. I had a judge tell me Trample doesn't go over. Trample and people saying Pro Color or Indestructible prevents all the Trample. I actually don't know the rule. I don't know the rule. If I have a protection, like if I have pro red. Man, thinking of cards on the spot is hard. Circle of Protection doesn't work here. If you have a pro red creature, I actually don't know what the rule is to this. I had a judge tell me Trample doesn't go over. Maybe that's true, because it I guess has to be excess damage, and preventing. Protection from red, for example, is like preventing all the damage. So no damage is dealt, so therefore there is no excess. Anyway, but I honestly don't know the rule. You know, yeah, it's right. Barakat says it's Fusion Gaming time. We're talking today about our sponsor, because everyone loves sponsors. Everyone loves Sylvan Library as well. What do we got here? Fusion Gaming Online. Oh, you still have some time to get that 15% off all Tempest Block singles. Really? It's a new Or is it? No, it's still the same week as the old week. All right, you probably have like mere minutes to get the deal of the week this week. Save 15% off all Tempest Block singles at FusionGamingOnline.com. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout for an additional 5% off all your purchases. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Your ability to play any deck, any format, anytime you want. If you're sick of Bant Spirits and Pioneer, you could go Mono Blue Spirits. If you're sick of Mono Blue, you could go to Bant. If you're sick of Pioneer, you go play Modern. We all know why we're sick of a particular format. It's because we're losing. So we'll move to a format where you're going to be winning. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_P9 to the S. That's right, P9 to the S. A wonderful coupon code. Most popular coupon code I've ever had. All right, back to the crazy, weird cards we played wrong. MG Fox with the super chat. Thank you so much. Harsh Justice thought this card could cause a draw if the damage dealt would be lethal for both players. Harsh Justice. Justice is going to be harsh. I've never heard of this card. White 2 generic. Cast Harsh Justice only during the declare attacker step and only if you've been attacked this step. Okay. So you got to be attacked and it's got to be at the attacker step. This turn, whenever an attacking creature deals combat damage to you, it deals that much damage to its controller. Whenever an attacking creature deals combat damage to you, it deals that much damage. So it's basically, we double damage. You hit me, I hit you. So what, you thought it prevented the damage? Thought this card could cause a draw if the damage dealt would be lethal for both players. This turn, whenever an attacking creature deals combat damage to you, it deals... I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let's see. We gotta look at... Forget the card. I think based on reading the card, you're right. Is this going to cause a delayed trigger? Cast this spell only during the declare attacker step and only if you've been attacked this turn. Whenever an attacking creature deals combat damage to you, it deals... Aha. Okay. I guess maybe it's the same. Maybe it's the same. Okay, so what ends up happening is whenever you're dealt damage, there's going to be a trigger that goes on the stack. It's like one of those delayed lifelink abilities. Whenever you deal damage, you gain that much life. But it's not actual lifelink. I see where you went wrong. That's too bad. Yeah, it could cause a draw. Under certain circumstances. In the world of make-believe. No, it's a delayed trigger. Interesting. Nice one. How many draws did you guys get until someone said, hey, that's not how this card works? All right, we've got the Spicy V. I didn't realize Quicksilver Dagger draws a card every time the creature taps for the ping. I thought it only happened when the card came in play. Really? So you've been screwing yourself all along. Quicksilver Dagger. This be daggers in your side. Yeah, when this creature deals 1 damage to target player, you draw a card every single pinger. That's too bad. So you thought this was just a 3 mana draw card once spell, and then you just deal 1 damage every other time? That's too bad. Someone had to have taught that to you. You only get the ability once. Or maybe it's because of all those cards like ETB get this effect. Okay, now I get it. There's so many cards, you get this ETB, you get this one-time effect, and then never again. And you might have misappropriated to the Quicksilver Dagger. Let's see. Okay, Approaching Calamity says, with Trample, you assign combat damage that would normally be lethal, and the rest goes. Same with Indestructible. So you're telling me that Trample will not go through if the damage is prevented. That's what you're telling me. Everyone's like talking about the Trample here. Protection means debt. Can't be destroyed, enchanted, blocked, or targeted. With Trample, you assign combat damage that would normally be lethal, and the rest goes. Oh my god, that one already. Okay, exactly. Harsh Justice won't cause a game draw because lethal damage goes through first. Okay, anyone have any other cards? See, I gotta go back into the... I gotta go back. Approaching Calamity. I got it. I got it. I hear you. Tapping Winter Orb? What did you... Whoops. Looked up Tapping Winter Orb. Just look up Winter Orb. As long as Winter Orb is untapped, players can't untap more than 1 land during their untap steps. So what did you do? Like tapped Winter Orb and then didn't do anything about it? So you just still untapped one land a turn? I don't know where the problem arised. Alright, Barakat with a super chat. Poison, virulent silver versus infect, and now toxic. Oh, you mean like, okay, so virulent. Thank you very much for giving me an example here. We've got so many different ways of making, what's it called? Creating infect, or poison counters, I should say. All slivers have poisonous 1, so whenever a sliver deals combat damage to a player, that player gets a poison counter. Then we got infect, which is gets that many poison counters for as much power as you put, and then there's toxic, which I think it just deals 1 no matter what. You attack for whatever you want, and it just deals 1 poison. So it's basically, I think toxic is all poison 1. Yeah, I totally got poison wrong whenever I saw poison. I thought it was just like, I couldn't tell the difference between this and infect. I'll get back to your super chat. What do we got here? The Blue Bomber. Witchbane Orb. That having Hexproof makes your spell uncounterable. Oh. Whenever Witchbane Orb enters the battlefield, destroy all curses attached to you. You have Hexproof, but your spells do not. I could totally see that. People thinking, okay, as I cast spells, my spells have Hexproof. You can't target them because, like, they're part of me. But no, that's not technically you. When we are, you know, casting... Let's say I want to counter something. We're countering the spell. We're not countering you. That is a neat one. Man, you know... Magic is so much different at the kitchen tabletop level, and then all of a sudden we're just blown away by all the rules when we go to our first like F&M or first tournament. Liquid Soulfly says, my friends and I used to think protection from white protected our creatures from Wrath of God. Yeah, we looked at that. Or any sort of indestructible. Okay, Wrath of God. You know what, actually? Someone, this happened to me in a tournament. Someone played Anger of the Gods versus me when I had a Master of Waves out. And they thought it was going to kill Master of Waves. So Master of Waves has pro red. And the person just confidently said, Anger of the Gods. And I'm like, okay, I wiped away all my other creatures. And they're like, well, what about your Master of Waves? I'm like, they have pro red. Yeah, but I played Anger of the Gods. Because they did go 1 level deeper. So eventually you realize... So first we think, okay, pro white, Wrath of God's a white card. The creature doesn't die, right? No, it actually dies. But having protection just means you can't, like, target the creature with a spell. But it'll destroy the creature. Then I guess at the next level, they figured, well, Anger of the Gods basically is like a Wrath of God. It just, you know, deals damage to everything. It doesn't target, but it still prevents the damage. You know, if you have pro red, it will still prevent that damage. So, protection from Anger of the Gods, but not protection from Master of Waves. Gare's back. Winter Orb and Howling Mine tapping ability came from old rules that got changed. When an artifact or enchantment was tapped, they didn't work. That's why Icy Manipulator was formerly powerful. The same thing, right? Winter Orb. I think Winter Orb and Howling Mine, there was this unwritten rule. If I'm not mistaken, there was an unwritten rule that a continuous artifact, if a continuous artifact was tapped, then it didn't work anymore. Same thing with Howling Mine. If we look up Howling Mine, that's why it was called... I might be wrong. I didn't play back then. I wasn't from this era. See, this is another... It's not a mono artifact. It's a continuous artifact. Each player draws 1 extra card each turn during his or her draw phase. So that's why they have to be untapped. And if you ever tap these cards, well, then the ability don't work no more. Ability don't work no more. It was a open artifact. I have no idea what that is. Okay, Brad. When my OG group opened our first revised starters back in '94, we played Howl from Beyond as an aura enchantment. Howl from Beyond. We had no idea what we were doing, even though end of turn is right on the card. So, so for a black and an X, I like this story. Target creature gets +X+0 until end of turn. So you just play. So you're like, all right, I'm sinking 7 mana into this. My creature gets +7/+0, and you just use it as an aura. It looks like an aura. It looks like it could be an aura. That's hilarious. I like that story. That's what we're talking about. These are cards that we played wrong. Because we all have these stories of these stupid cards. You know, the rule. No one knows the rules in the beginning. The rules are so convoluted and stupid. And there's no logical sense to any of it. You have to learn it slowly over time. Okay, Lauren says, I believe tapped continuous active artifacts abilities were inactive when tapped, as you said. Yeah, I think it was like an unwritten rule at the time. Like, it doesn't say that on the card, so you'd have to know the rules. But again, I don't know for sure because I didn't play back then. That was before my time. Okay, Balance says Captive Audience has a 50% play rate in Gen, Arcanum, Weaver, EDH decks despite having no synergy. Captive Audience. So you're telling me, like, it looks like it should be in the deck, but it doesn't actually do anything? But how is it played wrong? I want wrong rules around here. What else do we have here? Anything with banding? Cooperation? Well, you guys just did not understand the rules. Enchanted creature gains banding. Banding is a hell of an ability. So basically what it is it just combines 2 creatures. But in addition to that, it's got this weird ability that if the opponent blocks the combined creature with combined power and toughness, you as in, you know, the player controlling the banding creature gets to divide the damage however you want amongst the creatures. So if your combined creatures have a total toughness of like 6 and the blocking creature was 4, you can assign the damage however you want so both creatures live. Yeah, no one knows. I didn't know how banding worked until I was in the beta booster draft in Vegas. Then I had to learn how banding worked. We spent like an hour learning about old rules from back then. What do we got here? Something about Relic Barrier? Okay, Alex. Glyph Keeper. I thought it needed to be countered twice when I cast it because it countered the first one. So blue, 3 generic, flying. When Glyph Keeper becomes the target of a spell or ability the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. When it becomes the target of a spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. So I thought it needed to be countered twice. Oh, so when you cast it, it's like, okay, counter spell. Okay, countered. Yeah, that checks out. All right, play another counter spell. I love that. Yeah, it seems like we all think that when we cast a spell, when the spell is on the stack, that it has those abilities, even though a lot of those abilities only are active when the card is in play. That's nice. Yeah, I could totally see that happening. We got Tetra Tin Man. 2003 was newer. Friend played against Thought Crypt Sliver. On Crypt Sliver. Thought Crypt Sliver to sack Mind Whip Sliver. But tap regenerate save from sack. Not how oh, okay, so you thought, okay, so we have all slivers have regenerate target creature, and then we're gonna play Mind Whip Sliver, and each sliver has, you know, pay to sack the creature. Target player discards a card at random, play this ability as a sorcery. We all do that! Yeah, it's like anything that, if the creature dies in any way, we all think that's a way of dying. Shouldn't we be able to regenerate it? Makes a lot of sense to me. Plus you can like tap to regenerate, right? It actually makes so much sense. You could tap to regenerate in advance, then sack the creature so it died, and then you can bring it back. Makes so much sense. I love that one. Alright, MG Fox. Used to think I could use overloads like Cyclonic Rift off Snapcaster Mage. So you're telling me I can't do this? Whoops, oh, that's not the card I want to look up. Cyclonic Rift. I mean, I'm just learning about this now, frankly. So return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owners. Oh yeah, I guess reading the card says, I mean, Snapcaster Mage says enters the battlefield, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard, gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost, and the only cost that you can pay is the OG mana cost. Again, it feels like you should be able to overload it, but you can't. Snapcaster Mage says no. Christian says, banding versus banding with other creatures. We played it as all creatures needed banding to assign damage as defender, otherwise the banding didn't work. Oh my. Well, now you're just making banding more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, Lauren Harris. Frozen Shade had to be errated to say end of turn, and the revised version always caused arguments when it was played. Frozen Shade. This is probably the newest version. It's a nice picture. Black. +1/+1 until end of turn. So what was the original one? It didn't say... Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness. Black 2 generic. Black just +1/+1. As if they're trying to save some space. You know, it's like, we need the flavor text. This flavor text is a bomb. We're not printing this card unless this Edgar Allan Poe quote is in here. So they didn't have room to put until end of turn, I guess. Well, actually, they did. They had a lot of room. They just neglected to do it. This is hilarious. I thought regenerating enemy creatures would tap. That's hilarious, too! So what, you try to regenerate... I love how deep that is. Okay, I'm going to regenerate your creature. And then... Oh, but you were just regenerating? They need to still be destroyed. Okay, regenerate, destroy, tap your creature, attack for the win. Yeah, Beta Unlimited Frozen Shade. That is so funny. +1/+1 for forever. I just learned that Blood Moon doesn't change non-basic lands into basics. That's right. So if you, yeah, they're not basic. They're still non-basic mountains, as weird as that sounds. So they are still affected by non-basic effects like destroy target non-basic land, and so on. Yeah. Just because it becomes a mountain, or an island, plains, forest, or swamp doesn't mean it's all of a sudden a basic. Such thing as... It also could be an art. It could be a non-basic artifact mountain. You know? You could have artifact tacked onto it as well. Okay, we got Zickler Crush, defensive formation. Had to explain how it works so many times. So other people didn't understand? Oh, white. Instead of the attacking player, you choose how creatures attacking you deal combat damage. Okay, so basically you choose where they assign damage. I get that's the only thing I can think. Okay, oh, actually, there's a little bit. It gets a little bit more deep. They're like, okay, a lot of people don't understand how this card works, so let's make it a little bit more clear. Rather than the attacking player, you assign the combat damage of each creature attacking you. You can divide that creature's combat damage as you choose among any of the creatures blocking it. Oh, so it just doesn't roll over. You can be like, okay, one to this, one to this, one to this, one to that. Is that how this works? It's like banding all of a sudden. They're always trying to bring banding back. They're trying to bring that banding effect here. Monster CC, welcome. Once upon a midnight dreary, I pondered, weak and weary. I had to shuffle because I didn't keep enough lands. What was this quote actually? What do we have here? There are some qualities, some incorporate things that have double life, which thus is made a type of twin entity which springs from matter and light evinced in solid and shade. Island ponder go, Bosch and roll. That's also quite a quote. Christian says, for that Blood Moon mountain rule, then is that the same with conversion? Conversion. Very likely. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice conversion unless you pay white all mountains or plains. If it's a non-basic mountain, yes. But if a basic land transforms into another land, like another basic land type, then it's still a basic land. If it started non-basic and transformed into like a mountain or a plains, then it's a non-basic land. So if you turn like a basic island into a plains, then it's a basic plains. If you turn a non-basic island into a plains, then it's a non-basic plains. That's how the rule works. See, we're learning some stuff. Some people still learning about the rules here. What do we have? I saw a hawk this morning, but not a raven. It was a sign. I thought Ancestral Vision is free card draw. Oh my goodness! Did you not read the suspend part? Suspend, pay a blue. Wait 4 turns for this card to pop off. Why would I want to do that when I could just play it for nothing? Just pay 0 mana for this thing. Look, everyone, I found like the most busted card in all of Magic the Gathering. I don't know why more people don't play this card. That doesn't say... Hold on, let's see. What is this? Yeah, if I understand conversion correctly, it's if it's turning all basic mountains into plains, then they're basic plains. You're not late to the stream, you're just on time. Diego says, I was really confusing Bonecrusher Giant instant to deal damage to protection from red creatures. Yeah, the stomp, right? It was really confusing, Bonecrusher to deal damage to protection from red creatures. So you can't target it. So the deal is, I don't know how you misused it. It's really confusing, Bonecrusher Giant to deal damage to protection from red creatures. So the deal is you can't target a creature with protection from red. At least not instantly. But if you stomp, say, the opponent, then all of a sudden damage can't be prevented this turn. Stomp deals 2 damage to any target. So now that... So protection effectively also says prevent damage. So let's say we attack with a red creature. They block with a protection from red creature. You stomp the player. So you deal 2 damage to you. And damage can't be prevented. Now all of a sudden the creature with pro-red will die to the red damage of the creature that it blocked. Makes no sense, but that's how it is. Tommy says, contrary to what you'd expect, you can play Yavimaya and Urborg in non-green, non-black EDH decks, respectively. Really? Is that true? Hold on, let's get Yavimaya out here. I thought you could only play lands of your, like, identity type thing. Where's Yavimaya? Oh, here it is. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. Is this true? Oh, Oh! It doesn't actually have a mana symbol on here. Interesting. I feel like just putting this into my Merfolk deck just to, like, troll my friends. That's interesting. They're colorless and don't make colored mana. Each land is a forest, in addition to its other land types. See, I would still make that mistake. Well, I still did make that mistake. Okay, we got generic here. With Dark Ritual, I would just tutor 3 swamps. Oh god. So many people do this. I would just tutor 3 swamps. I didn't know what mana pool was, and I thought it was just your lands. Whoops, pretty strong card. Oh yeah, it's broken. Same thing, well, a lot of people did the same thing with Llanowar Elves, right? A lot of people did the same thing. They, like, tap, add a green. So you, like, I don't know, put a forest in play from your hand. Or put a forest in play from your library. Yeah, add triple black to your mana pool. Your mana pool is all the pool of lands that you got on the battlefield. What the hell is a mana pool, anyway? We don't even acknowledge the mana pool anymore. Mana pools don't exist. You just have mana. You have lands in hand, then the lands go into play, then you tap it for mana, that goes to another mysterious zone. Too many zones. Go from one zone to another, too many zones. Then we got the command zone. What do we got here? Just like you can play any fetch land in a deck. Oh, is that true? So you can play... Oh, yeah, that's... Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you can play any fetch land just like we play with Yavimaya Critical Growth. Okay, do Blood Vial Purveyor. Trading the card explains the card, right? Right? Okay, Blood Vial Purveyor. Oops. Okay, what does this card do? Black, black, 2 generic, flying trample. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player creates a blood token. That sounds great! When Blood Vial Purveyor attacks, it gets +1/+0 for each blood token defending player controls. I don't understand the problem, though. Trading the card explains the card, right? Whenever it attacks, gets +1/+0. I don't know how you screwed this up. It makes sense to me. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, they get blood tokens. Whenever I attack, it gets +1/+0 for each blood token defending player controls. I guess so some people might think, well, there's like a ton of blood tokens on the battlefield, so I get +1/+0 for all the blood tokens. You're all defending players to me, but it's only the player that has it's only the player that's actually with defending. It's only the defending player that has blood tokens.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, I see. You're talking about like oh, it gets it permanently. Tax, it gets +1/+0 for each. Oh, I see. Like, is this the card that needed an errata? It is a card that needed an errata. So this card, well, that's hilarious. We're not playing the card wrong. You're playing as it says. That's a good one. Whenever Blood Vial Purveyor attacks, it gets +1/+0 for each blood token defending player controls. So permanently, but the Oracle text is until end of turn. As it should. Is it gonna run out of room? They might be running out of room here. Oh, that's good. It doesn't say, and everyone at the playgroup is like, doesn't say end of turn. Now, you know, it's not that big of a deal. There's so many old cards in Magic that they don't do what they say. No cards from back then do what they say. Think of all the creatures that we added, like human to the creature type or Phyrexian to the creature type. There's all sorts of dumb stuff. Yeah, let's look at it like a Nevinyarrals disc, for example. I don't think this is how Nevinyarrals disc is spelled. Nevinyarrals disc. Nevinny's disc. There we go. But let's look at an old one. Let's go to the first Nevinyarrals disc. What did it say? It didn't even come into play tapped. It was a mono. I think back then were mono artifacts supposed to come into play tapped, or did they just arbitrarily added that rule to the Nevinyarrals disc? So, according to the original one, comes into play untapped. Pay 1, destroy all creatures and enchantments and artifacts in play. It actually explicitly says disc begins tapped, but can be untapped as usual. Disc destroys itself when used. Hold on, there is a 5th edition one. Did it ignore the comes into play tapped version? Revised 4th. I don't know which one's the 5th. I'm not good with my Roman numerals. So many Nevinyarrals. Is it this one? Comes to play tapped. They all say comes to play tapped. They all say comes to play tapped. It has no tap symbol. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. The old ones don't have the tap symbol. Subtlety hitting things on board, not on the stack, is pretty common. Oh my god. I saw that in a tournament so many times. With judges! With judges looking at it. I had to have a long talk with a judge. So, okay, this happened in, it was the Channel Fireball Las Vegas event back in 2001. So I saw a game with a living end player, and they played Subtlety, targeting a Teferi Time Raveler that was on the battlefield. They were trying to bounce the Teferi Time Raveler. And multiple judges are watching this game. Multiple judges. So this guy plays his Subtlety and points towards the Teferi Time Raveler, which is being an annoying Teferi Time Raveler. Where's the OG one? So, like, and of course, this thing's just hosing the living end player because they need to cascade into their living end, right? They have to get rid of this Teferi. So they play Subtlety in front of all these judges, and the most amazing thing is that the defending player with the Teferi counters the Subtlety, counters it, and then like the following turn, the living end player tries to do it again in front of all these judges. And again, the defending player with the Teferi Time Raveler throws away a counter spell on this Subtlety. So long afterwards, I had to ask like some judges, like, why aren't the judges doing anything about this? And the answer was that no player was doing anything illegal. The Subtlety league technically be played for nothing. You can just like evoke it into play and it will have a trigger on the stack and it just doesn't have any targets. And as a result, so the living end player legally played a Subtlety to do nothing, and then the control player legally played a counterspell on the evoked Subtlety, even though it was just going to get evoked into the graveyard and do nothing. So it was hilarious. So the judges never intervened because technically everyone made legal plays, and even though the living end player pointed at the Teferi Time Raveler, he can point to whatever he wants. He could do whatever he wants. So it was hilarious. So the judges probably would have only intervened if the control player actually lifted their Teferi Time Raveler and tried to put it on top of their deck. So it was so bizarre. And I'm like, what is going on here? I even have video footage of it. But anyway, I never released it because like afterwards, technically there was nothing wrong. This is definitely the thumbnail. Well, I don't know if it's going to be the thumbnail or not. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty common that people try to, I guess there are a lot of blue cards that if you put the card on top of your library, they're targeting permanents. So anyway, I thought that was hilarious. It was so crowded. So many people were watching that game. So many people. It was like one of the last games to be played because they had our super long judge call. Release the footage. Well, I don't want to like, the guy obviously, I don't even think the guy even knew how to play this deck. So they also didn't know how Subtlety worked. It's not like they're trying to cheat intentionally in front of like a billion people. So anyway, I don't want to release the footage. It was just a really hilarious story in that event. Please body cam, 100%, 24/7. It was just play Subtlety, point to Teferi, and the defending player counters it. Oh my god! Neither side knew how this card worked, and it was pretty new at the time because like Modern Horizons 2 just came out. Okay, we got the worst type here. I just wanted to pop up and say I discovered your channel and you are awesome. Thank you so much, worst type. You're the best type, the worst type. The unsummoning of kiki-jiki. Unsummoning reflections of kiki-jiki. You can do that. Unsummon. Got unsummon. You got your, like, you bounce. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Unsummoning reflections of kiki. Oh, you want to, like, unsummon the actual enchantment? That does not work. Reflections on. Reflections of... I think I got the card wrong. Reflections... Let's get kiki-jiki. Kiki-jiki. What's the reflections of kiki-jiki? I don't get it. Is there a card? I mean, maybe I'm not familiar with this card. Okay, Lauren says, I thought Guy's Liege turned a defending player's land. Let's get Guy's Liege out here. Turned defending player's land into a forest when it attacked because of the tap trigger at the bottom and not realizing tapping and attacking were different functions. Oh, I see. Yeah. So you thought you could attack and get like a double whammy here. So yeah, I'm attacking and I'm tapping at the same time. Target land becomes a forest until end of turn. Gotcha. Raznap says, read the Cold Snap theme deck version of Bounty of the Hunt versus the Oracle. Bounty of the Hunt. I mean, we can't blame people for playing the cards as as it says on the card. Okay, so this is how the card says. You can remove a card in your hand from the game rather than pay Bounty of the Hunt's mana cost. Choose one. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Target creature gets +2/+2, and another target creature gets +1/+1. So you divide out the 3, or 3 target creatures each get +1/+1 until end of turn. Okay, so what's wrong with this? So if we look at the Oracle text, distribute 3, so they changed it. Distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures. For each counter you put on a creature this way, remove a +1/+1 counter from the creature at the beginning of the next cleanup step. So, so we lose them. Oh, I see. It's just until... Well, I mean, they just cleaned up the wording, right? I think it basically does the same thing. Put 2... I mean, either all 3 counters are going to be on 1 creature, or 2 on 1, 1 on 1, or 3 on... 3 1/1 counters on several of them. Flo Nino with the super chat. How to play cards with Suspend. Oh, Ancestral Vision. Yeah, we just talked about this not long ago. Ancestral Vision. So what, you just ignored the Suspend? How to play cards with Suspend. Yeah, it has a blue. Suspend 4. What does that mean? Do I have to pay 4 blue? Rather than cast this card from your hand, pay a blue and exile it with 4 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter. When the last is removed, cast it without paying its mana cost. I guess there's a lot of ways of going wrong. You might think, I gotta pay a blue and a 4 to suspend this. Do I pay a blue every single time I have to take some suspend off? We got Squee with the super chat. The Fallen. My dumb dog brain can't figure it out. The Fallen. Creepy picture. At the beginning of your upkeep, well, how about let's go to the dark one, which might make a lot less sense. During its controller's upkeep, the Fallen does 1 damage to each opponent it has previously damaged. Who's it? The Fallen or the player? So I'm going to assume that if you dealt damage to someone with the Fallen, then at your upkeep, you're going to deal an additional damage to it. Does it accumulate? Okay, so then we look at the full Oracle text. At the beginning of your upkeep, the Fallen deals 1 damage to each opponent. And Planeswalker now, it has dealt damage to this game. The entire game. So if you ever dealt damage to a player or Planeswalker with the Fallen, it deals 1 damage, an extra damage every upkeep. It only works if you attack them with it. Yep. Okay, we got Magnum Opus Gold, Necrologia. I would play it and storm off at end phase. LOL. Played it in a tournament and first match had to concede an exit store. Oh god, that doesn't sound good. So what does this card do? Cast Necrologia only during your end step. As an additional cost to cast Necrologia, pay X life, draw X cards. So what was the problem here? I would play it and storm off at end phase, only during your end step. So what's wrong with that? Instant. You only cast during your end step, so you cast on your end step, you pay X life, you draw X cards, then storm off if you want. Am I reading this wrong? Hold on. Cast this spell only during your end step, and there's no cost to cast this spell, pay X life, draw X cards. I don't understand why you can't storm off. I mean, so long as you don't have to play any source. If you can play everything at instant speed, then you can win, right? I don't think there's anything wrong here. Necro cast only during your end step. You then play the spells he drew. You can win on it. I know. So what's wrong here? Yeah, you can win on end step. You can do whatever you want. Of course you can play the spells that you draw. Anyway, I think you can do this. Unless anyone can tell me what I'm missing here. Cast only during your end step. I mean, you can still cast cards. Yeah, you can only cast instants. Oh, none of this. I don't think any of the storm win conditions are instant. Like Grape Shot is sorcery. Then there's like, what's it called? Tendrils of Agony. is also sorcery. But you know what you can do? Does it say only your end step? Oh, it is. You can only do it at your end step. Well, you can draw 7 cards. That's not long. That's not too bad. Cast at the beginning. Cast only at the. Oh no, you can. Oh, I don't know how to use this card properly. Yeah, all the storm cards are sorcery. Okay, you can do everything that you want to do. You're just not allowed to storm off when you actually storm off. All right, Storm has to take a break there. Okay, what do we got? There was a great card suggestion. Abu Jafar is odd in that it doesn't have to deal damage. It only needs to die to destroy any creature that blocked or blocked it. Not quite death touch. Abu Jafar. We got, for a white, if Abu Jafar is put into the graveyard from play during combat, bury all creatures blocking or blocked by Abu. Oh, I see. So I block, I sack it, it's all gonna die. So yeah, not quite death touch. Feels like death touch. We got Flonino back here with another super chat. Remove enchantments. Original text is sick. Is that a card? Remove enchantments. Doesn't sound like a card. It's really a card. We should make a card called Remove Artifacts. Okay, so original text is sick. Okay, remove all enchantments you control and remove all enchantment cards played on all permanents you control. If this spell is cast during opponent's attack, also remove all enchantment cards played or on attacking creatures. All enchantments you own are returned to your hand. All other enchantments are destroyed. What the hell? We're getting rid of all of them. They're all gone. Okay, Henrik, QY. I saw a guy playing these land destruction decks with indestructible lands, and he played a sacrifice card in one of them thinking it would survive. Ah, yeah, what's an indestructible land? Indestructible land, MTG. Can't think of any off the... Okay, Darksteel Citadel. For the... I doubt that... They probably played something like Gold... Dross Forge Bridge? Dross Forge Bridge. Yeah, so this is pretty relevant. There's all sorts of ways of like targeting your land, trying to blow it up, and you get some, or you don't actually blow it up, but you target your indestructible lands and get some ability out of it. Yeah, Darksteel Citadel is also a pretty popular one. But of course, as we learned earlier, indestructible is not quite indestructible. It can be exiled, can be sacrificed. Can be you given it. It's really weird. You can give an indestructible creature like -X to kill it. That's the rules. We didn't make them up. Richard Garfield made them up. Played Lotus Field? Oh god. Yeah. Don't sack your Lotus Field, boys and girls. That's gonna be a super feel bad moment. Cast this, sack my Lotus Field. Don't actually sack my Lotus Field because it has indestructible. Sorry, man, that's illegal. That is illegal. Yeah, it can't be destroyed, but it can absolutely be sacrificed. Abzo says, I thought you can trigger Raid Bombardment with Myriad ability. Raid Bombardment with Myriad ability. Oops. The construct? I don't know which one. Okay, hold on. Let's look at Raid Bombardment. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, Raid Bombardment deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, okay, that's fine. And then we have the construct. It was kicked, it enters the battlefield with a counter on it, blah, blah, blah. When it becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it and create a number of 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature tokens equal to its power. That works. Oh, it's an ability? Myriad is, give me a Myriad creature. Give me a Myriad, back here. Myriad ability. Ability. Equipped creature has Myriad whenever... Okay, hold on. Blade of Selves. Blade of Selves. Whatever the hell that is. Equipped creature has Myriad, a very, very long keyword here. So whenever it attacks for each opponent other than defending player, you may create a token that's a copy of that creature that's tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they controlled. Exile the token at end of combat. Ah, I see. So whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks. The problem is that creature's already attacking. It needs to be in the process of attacking to get that trigger. I totally see that. Barakat back for one last super chat before we end the day. Can I suggest a show idea? Rank casual commanders. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that one, Barakat. Love it. All right. So that's it for today. I hope you love that. I think this is a great show idea because there's all sorts of cards that we got wrong. Reading the card doesn't always explain the card. Also, understanding the Magic rules are not intuitive at all in any way. So if you got Magic wrong one way or another while you were learning, it's not your fault, it's Magic's fault. I'm never going to blame anyone. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Remember the show, new show time, 2023, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thank you so much for your super chats and your patronage. Everyone who's a member on YouTube and also on Patreon and the super chats, you guys are part of the show. I really appreciate everyone who's trying to get their comments and ideas to the forefront. It helps support the show big time, and I would never miss another day of Coffee and MTG if it wasn't for all of you guys. But thank you mostly to everyone who shows up here, because without you guys, I got no show. I got nothing. I'm worthless. I bow down to thee. I am not worthy. The coffee crew is worthy. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep brewing up those coffees, and we will keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.